Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sumukascha Ekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha. Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha. Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha. Vakratundaha Surpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopasantaye Yasyadhrada Vaktradhya Parishadhya Parasatam Vignam Nignanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tamastraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. With Bhagavan's grace, let us continue. We were in Sutra number 44. Kama, Krodha, Moha, Smriti Bhrimsaha, Buddhinashaha, Sarvanasha, Karanatvate. In Sutra number 43, Narada clearly says that we must we must run away from the company of the bad. And very important, and we also saw in Gita Slokam number 16.21, the one that really destroys us, that prevents us from shining in the love that we each one of us are really Kamam, Krodham, and Lobham. And that is the doorway to hell. And 44, then one verse to ask the question, why is it so? The 44 says, Sutra number 44, they are kamaha, they desire the impulse that's coming, krodaha, the impulse, the angry impulse that rises up within us, moha is delusion. That means mistaking something for what it is not, right? And being mesmerized by it. That is what moham really is. Smriti Bhrimsaha. See, very important. Smriti Bhrimsaha means losing one's memory, into putting it in one way. But what Smriti Bhrimsaha really means, forgetting our true identity, that we are nothing but selfless love. How many of us really remember that? We've forgotten that, isn't it? It even sounds so strange that to be able to say, I am God. Aham Brahmasmi, I am God. Even to make that statement, we hesitate, isn't it? That's how far we have forgotten our own true identity. That is Smriti Bhrimsaha and Buddhi Nasaha. And this is something that keeps on coming everywhere. Buddhi Nasaha. The discriminating ability has become weak, very weak. And when we don't have the discriminating ability that is there to protect you, Sarvanashaha, basically, everything really gets destroyed. Not in the physical accumulation of wealth and all that, but the mansion of peace, the mansion of love, the mansion of bliss that we each one of us really is, and that basically gets destroyed. So we are moving about in miseries, worries, anxieties, rejections, rewards, temporary happiness, and then sadness, always with a feeling of uncertainty, with fear, what's going to happen next moment, nothing. So when we move about like that, basically we are bound, we are not free. That narakam, that nasam, that destruction that takes place because of we have entered the wrong house through the doors of Kamam, Krodham, Moham, Kamam, Krodham, Moham, Lobham, those three doors. And because of that, we are living in the wrong building, which is really a building of destruction, rather than the mansion of bliss, which is what we really are. In Bhagavad Gita, very important lesson. When I came across it first time, I was astounded, and I'd like to go through that with you. That talks about 62 and 63, the slokams in Bhagavad Gita 62 and 63. That talks about how exactly does kamam, where does it originate from, And how does it result in buddhinasaha? Once you lose your discriminating ability, everything is destroyed. That's a classic difference between human beings and all the other parts of creation in the world. They don't have discriminating ability, therefore they all live happily, peacefully, because we have a discriminating ability, and along with that, we are given the option to choose. Whereas no other creation in the world, Bhagavan's creation, among the 8.34 million types of creations he has made, not a single one other than us have the option to choose, whereas we are given the option to choose. Along with that, we are given the discriminating ability. And that discriminating ability, when we lose it or it becomes weak, we get destroyed. How does it happen? That is what Slokam 62 and 63 talk about. I'd like to cover that with you briefly. It's a very powerful set of teachings from Bhagavan. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangate sajjayate kamaha kamat krodhaha abhijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramsat buddhinasaha buddhinasat pranasyati. Basically, what it talks about, and without going the padangal, just let me quickly give you the overall meaning of it, and then we will move on. When a person focuses on an item, it can be an object, thought, or whatever, that we focus on it just a little bit rather than passing it by, then he connects with it. This connection, sticking together with the object, the thought, whatever it is that you focus on, that sticking together with it gives birth to desire, kamam. That desire leads to anger. Anger gives rise to confusion, and confusion to loss of understanding. Unable to understand, he loses his discrimination and he perishes. This is what the teaching from 2.62 and 2.63 are, and that's what Narada teaches us in Sutra number 45. So, we've been warned of our enemies, Kamam, Krodham, Lobham, right, Moham. Number 45, Tarangayita api ime sangat samudrayanti. Tarangayita api me sangat samudrayanti. Padangal, Tarangayita api ime sangat samudrayanti. What happened? This is a beautiful description, excellent warning from the teacher. These kamam, krodham, and all that, they don't hit you in a very strong, like a hurricane hitting you. They start like small waves, and then very soon they become joining together. They become like the huge ocean itself, very powerful ocean itself. Ime, this kamam, krodham, lobham, you start in a small way, just a little bit. That's all it begins. Then it takes you over. That's the meaning. Tarangayitaha api. That's like a waves. Sangat, because they join together, one desire leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. It never ends. So they join in together. It becomes samudrayanti. Becomes like a samudram, a big ocean. And due to bad company, and the kamam, krodham, lobham, all these, they start like small waves. But if I don't attend to it, then they grow big like an ocean. In Bhagavad Gita, again, Swami says in 3.41, which is Adhyayam 3, Slokam number 41, he says, Arjuna, you have earned a glorious reputation in the lineage of Bharata. Remember, get your senses under control immediately. Stop desiring the sense objects. This desire only confounds wisdom and intelligence and causes you to do sinful things. That's what he says. And Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says that when those of us who have seen what a well is, Kanaru we say in Tamil, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa compares to that. He says you stand at the edge of the well. You have to be careful that you don't fall down. Because if you fall into the well, you will get wet and dirty. Same way, a bhakta or a person desirous to be a bhakta, he has to be very careful that he does not fall into the wells of attraction and the various vulgarities and sinful things that are happening in the world. You have to be careful, and even though you may be standing on the edge, not to fall into it, because once you do, it's impossible to come out without being impacted by it, without being wounded by it, and without being dirtied by it. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's teaching. So, Tarangayita apime sangate samudrayanti. Sutra number 46. Sutra 46. Kastarati mayam yaha sangate tejati yo mahanubhavam sevate nirmamo bhavati. Kastarati mayam yaha sangate tejati yaha mahanubhavam sevate nirmamo bhavati. Now, this maya is a word that we have given that makes us believe something that is not there, that is compelling us to, and mesmerizingly and tantalizingly trapping us into believing a dream to be a reality, that compels us to see the movie on a screen and not the screen that is supporting the movie, because the movie is not there. It's just a dream. It's a maya. What is there is really the screen that supports the movie that we see, but we forget to see it. We see a building so nicely, aesthetically designed, we are mesmerized by it. We forget to see the foundation that supports it. We see a beautiful tree, flowers, fruits, but how many of us think of the roots that support it? Then even if you think of the root, how many of us think of the Mother Earth that is supporting the roots, the food that comes in, right? See, the basic thing that is supporting everything, dharayati iti dharmaha, the entity that is supporting everything, even in our own personal case, how many of us take a moment to think what is supporting us? Our breath. We know how many of us think about our breath, right? So we forget it. That maya that is tantalizingly, mesmerizingly taking us away from looking at the reality, even though the reality is beckoning us to look at it, but we don't. That entity, kastarati, kahatarati, kaha who? Mayam, this illusion, delusion, this dream, this thing that we are mistaking something that is not there to be there. Tarati, who actually overcomes that, who goes beyond that and really looks at the reality? Kahatarati, mayam. The answer is, and the next few sutras, Narada teaches us. So you want to be careful, take the path of Bhagavan, the bhakti. That means lotus feet must be in front of our eyes, and it must be in our heart, and it must be in our mind and imagination, and then from imagination into reality. Right? To do that, kaha tarati maya, first one. Yaha who sangat tejati, the joining together with, the seeking and embracing all the temporary appearances and disappearances in the world. Tyajati, one who leaves it. He crosses this Maya. He goes beyond it. Yaha Mahanubhavam Sevati. Who serves. Mahanubhavas. Mahanubhavas are people who are always with Bhagavan. Not a scholarship of a PhD or publishing 10,000 papers, great oratory or a leader of a country. No. Mahanubhava who's attained the pinnacle of character. And character is simply Trikarana Suddhi. Thought, speech and action are purified and in absolute consonance with each other. That character, that shines. Mahanubhavas, people, one who serves them. Serving is very important, not just physically. Even this is where Vinayam comes in. Vinayam is so important to understand what Vinayam is and to experience it and make it as a second nature to our being, which we don't do that. We must focus on all the things, even before we start focusing on love for God, focus on Vinayam. Immediately bhakti will come. Immediately love for God will come. Immediately, instantly. It is not two separate things. Serving, fulfilling the needs of Mahanubhavas lovingly, selflessly, even before the need arises, and making them really and genuinely happy. How are they pleased? And that when you please Bhagavan, you have the whole universe in your hand. And the devas fall at your feet when you please Bhagavan. Remember that. Yaha Mahanubhavam Sevati. They cross this Maya. They could go beyond that to where the reality is. Even when they watch a movie, they don't see the movie. They really see the support behind it. When you walk, enjoy the blossom of a beautiful fragrance of a flower, they enjoy it. Yes, that is there given for us to enjoy. Swami says, all these things I have done for you, for your enjoyment only. The whole universe is for our enjoyment, but only as a trustee, not as a possessor. I cannot claim ownership on anything, but I must enjoy it because it is Bhagavan's Leela. Enjoy it as a play. And that person, that service, that the serving Mahanubhavas is important. Then, Yaha Nirmamo Bhavati. One who always feels, this is not me, it is Bhagavan doing it. Somebody gets angry, he sees Bhagavan in the form of anger. Somebody praises you, he sees Bhagavan in the form of praise. He says, Swami, it belongs to you. You do a good job, you get credit, you pass it on to where it really belongs. The person who really we should all give credit to everything that's happening is Bhagavan. Not me or you. If you understand something, the credit goes to Bhagavan. If you speak well, the credit goes to Bhagavan. If you behave badly, then that credit also goes to Bhagavan. If you sing well, the credit actually goes to Bhagavan, not to you as a singer. It is people praise you, offer it at the lotus feet. Nirmamo bhavati. There is nothing we can claim ownership on. Because if the life force goes next second, this body becomes useless. Unlike even the skin of a dead elephant or a dead tiger or even a dead snake that can be put to use and they have some value. The skin of a man, of a human being, after the life force goes, what is it worth? Just think. So, Nirmamo Bhavati, Yaha Nirmamo Bhavati, he crosses the Tarati, Mayam Tarati. So, that is Sutra number 46. Kastarati Mayam. First question is asked. The answer is coming in number of sutras. First one. Yaha Sangat Tyajati, Yaha Mahanubhavam Sevati, Yaha Nirmamo Bhavati. Sutra number 47. Yaha Viviksanam Sevate, Yaha Loka Bandhanam Unmulayati, Yaha Nistraigunyaha Bhavati, Yaha Yogakshemam Tyajati. Oh, how beautiful it is. Yaha viviksanam sevati, yaha loka bandhanam unmulayati, nistrai gunyaha bhavati, yogakshemam tyajati. Yaha, you add to all these, right? So that we understand it in English. Yaha, who? Viviksanam, sthanam means place. Viviksanam means solitary place, in solitude, a place of solitude. It can be the corner of a room where nobody interferes with you. It can be a puja room, or it can be sitting on a bench in a park. It doesn't matter. Or you're driving in a car. But the thing is, it's a place of solitude. One sevate, one who seeks the solitary place of solitude, so that you can be with yourself, with the Atma, with the indweller, with the Bhagavan, with the love that you are, and experience it. So one who seeks that he mayam tarati, yaha loka bandhanam unmulayati. One, the loka bandhanam, the various bondages that is taking place and keeping us always bound every second that we are living, additional bondages are being created. Not only with physical human beings, the objects that we acquire, the houses, the cars, and all those things that we have, the money in the bank that we don't want to let go. All the things. Not only that, we also develop bondage with our own thoughts about and feelings about people, right? Or memories. So many things we embrace and we develop bondages to. That loka bandhanam, all the bondages that we are continuously creating, unmulayati, one who destroys these bondages at the root itself. Unmulayati means moolam, means where? That's the root of the bondage. And what is the root of all this bondage? Kamam, krodham, moham, lobham. And kamam comes because I focus on an object a little bit longer than I should, or because I don't look at that object as an embodiment of Bhagavan. If I start looking at everything as embodiment of Bhagavan, this is what the rishis did. That's why they're called rishis, people who are looking. That's what rishi means. So if I start doing that deliberate exercise, whatever I see, where is Bhagavan in this, then I'm no longer attached to that object. Then kamam will not come. Desire will not arise. Impossible. Because you're looking for not the object, but the indweller in the object. So, when this kind of that's how the unmulayati, cutting the root of this bondages come. Right? Yaha lokabandhanam unmulayati. Yaha nistrai gunyaha. Oh, very important. Nistrai gunyaha. This is one who has gone beyond the three natural impulses. How do I do this, Swami? The three natural impulses are the ones that are pulling and pushing me. I'm a puppet, and the strings that are being pulled, those three strings, we've all got three strings that Bhagavan is pulling us, the nature, not Bhagavan, the nature, Prakriti is pulling us with. And that, those three things, Satvika Gunam, Rajasika Gunam, Tamasika Gunam. And how do I overcome this? Nistrai Gunyaha. And that can be done only when you at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. And then Swami says that either you can give up everything. We saw in the beginning, right, when we talked about bhakti and prapaddi. Prapaddi, you can be like a kitten and just let Bhagavan carry everything. Okay, and that is the easiest path. But we don't allow Bhagavan to carry us, right? We resist. So if we take the monkey part of it, where I have to hold on to the mother monkey's neck, and if I take that part, whichever path you take, that's a little bit difficult. We also saw that earlier. What do I have to do here for the three gunas? Simple. Tamasic gunam, lethargy, misunderstanding, wrong understanding of things, and a propensity and an inclination or a bias for inaction. And you overcome that using Rajasic gunam. It's like, assume that you walk barefoot on your backyard, and a small thorn picks your toe. What will you do? Okay, how will you remove the thorn? Those of us who have had this experience, to remove one thorn that has gone into your skin, you use another thorn to remove it. Right? So like that, the thorn of tamasic gunam, you use the thorn of rajasic gunam. When you are inactive, inclined to be inactive, employ rajasic gunam that you have. Bring it latent to forefront and say, become active. When you misunderstand, which is tamasic gunam, then tell yourself, no, this is not correct understanding. Seek the right understanding. That activity, rajasic gunam, will remove and bring the tamasic gunam to the back. Then the rajasic gunam has to be gotten rid of. And too much activity, how do we do? Only through sattvika gunam. That is through balancing, like driving a car, right? You cannot always be applying brake. That is tamasic gunam. And you cannot always be pushing the accelerator, right? You have to have balance. So when you are too much active after overcoming tamasic and being rajasic, employ the sattvika gunam, the thorn of sattvika gunam, to remove the thorn of rajasic gunam. Then the thorn of sattvika gunam is inside your skin. That is, now you become balanced, mentally balanced. Then what do we do when we finally remove a thorn, and the thorn that we use to remove a thorn that is embedded in your skin, that thorn also we throw away, right? Like that, the sattvika gunam then has to be sublimated, submitted, thrown away basically at the feet of Bhagavan. When you are balanced, it will be easier to think of Bhagavan than when you are rajasic. When you are highly rajasic, like a crane that is, if you've seen a crane walking through a pond or something like that, how fast it goes. It walks very fast in the water. But in that process, it doesn't catch any fish. When it wants to catch fish, what does the crane do? It stands still, balanced. So when you attain sattvic gunam, and when you are dominant sattvic, you will be more inclined and facilitated, easier to think of Bhagavan. The moment you think of Bhagavan, all the other problems are vaporized. They all go away. You just think more and more of him, it becomes easier and easier. So here, nistraygunya, that is how you cross the three gunas. Yaha nistraygunya, he mayam tarati, he crosses. Then yaha yogakshemam tyajati. Very important for people like us. Yogakshemam. Here it means, we are also grahasthas, we have to run a family, so we have duties. You cannot just walk away from all the duties and run into the forest and do tapas. That's not what it is. On the contrary, the instruction is always to engage in the worldly activities and then see Bhagavan as part of all the activities that we do, because he is not separate from it. Yogakshemam brings us to the ground level. I've got to go earn paycheck. I've got to go put food on the table. I've got to bring up my children. I've got all these duties I have, right? And you do that as service, as offering to Bhagavan. Don't get involved in being greedy and keep accumulation of monetary wealth, accumulation of societal wealth, accumulation of fame, reputation, accumulation of scholarship, whatever it is. Don't keep that as your objective. Tyajati, leave that desire to accumulate. A very important difference. You still have wealth to live, enough, no problem. You have enough, is what Swami says beautifully. Things in one Avatara Purushan told, Swami said in an interview, beautifully to a very great American, if I can use the word devotee to him, a very rich person, very wealthy, but lots of personal tragedies and all that. And lots of personal tragedies. But so it says, and Swami tells him, he uses his name, and I don't want to say his name right now, but he calls him beautifully by his name, and he says, will you do something for me? And he immediately says, Swami, yes, Swami, who will not? When Bhagavan comes and says, will you do something, Hanuman, did he say no? You immediately jump. It's a great opportunity to serve the Lord. And then Swami tells him, I have given you so much. Can you be happy? That's all Bhagavan wants from us. Wants us to be happy. For each one of us, He has given us plenty and He has given us enough. Enough. Absolutely. If you think about it. So, can I be happy? And that is what this Yogakshemam Tyajati means. One who does that, he overcomes Maya. Yaha Viviksanam Sevate Yo Lokabandhanam Unmulayati Nistraigunyo Bhavati Yogakshemam Tyajati. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.